All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to talk about a really powerful idea, one that kind of flips the whole concept of leadership on its head. We're going to see why, when you're facing really complex problems, the best leaders aren't the ones with all the answers. They're actually the ones with the best questions. I mean, seriously, think about it. If you're in a leadership role, you know this feeling, right? This immense pressure to be the expert, the one person who's supposed to have a solution for every single tough problem. It's not just exhausting, it's actually a trap that can bring your whole team to a grinding halt. And this leads to a really weird paradox. You spend most of your career being told to listen. Listen to your parents, your teachers, your bosses. You learn by following the rules. Then, bam, you get that promotion, and suddenly the script completely flips. Now you're the one who's supposed to know everything. But here's the problem. Nobody actually does.
Yeah, just let that one sink in for a second. It's so simple, but so profound. The very fact that you're facing a persistent, stubborn problem is absolute proof that your current knowledge, your current playbook, just isn't enough. You need a new way of thinking.
So this brings us to a really crucial point about experience. Look, your experience is obviously super valuable, don't get me wrong, but it can also be a trap. It can create these blind spots. When we rely too heavily on what worked for us in the past, we can completely miss the fresh, innovative ideas that are needed for a real breakthrough. And you can't just fix this by throwing a bunch of new certifications at the problem or, hiring a motivational speaker for an afternoon and hoping for a miracle. Real, lasting transformation doesn't come from a new methodology or some rah-rah speech. It has to start with a fundamental shift in the leader's own mindset and what they do every single day. Okay, so if the whole all-knowing leader model is broken, what's the alternative? Well, the solution is actually pretty simple. It all comes down to open-mindedness. It's about having the courage to say, you know what, I don't know the answer to this. Because the moment you do that, you unlock the collective genius of your entire team. And I want you to notice that word, strength. This isn't about being weak. It's a massive strategic advantage. It's about recognizing that the people who are actually doing the work day in and day out have insights that leaders sitting in a conference room will almost always miss. Being open-minded is the key that unlocks that goldmine of intelligence. All right, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? Let's get practical. Let's dig into the playbook here. We're going to walk through 4 concrete, actionable rules that can turn this big idea into a daily habit. Okay, let's break these down. First up, seek intention. So, when you hear a new idea, your first instinct shouldn't be how would that work, but why. Understanding the intent behind it opens up the whole conversation. Second, invite a demo. Instead of saying that'll never work, try saying, hey, show me. This invites collaboration. Third, and this one is huge, take ownership. When a problem comes up, starting with, I'm responsible for this, creates the psychological safety for the team to actually solve it without being afraid. And finally, focus on the possible. No matter how difficult the conversation was, always end it by highlighting the opportunities, the potential wins. Each of these rules shifts you from being a knower to being a learner. Just look at the difference here. On one side, you have, we've already tried that. Boom, conversation over. It's a brick wall. But on the other side, show me how you do it. That's a door opening. It's curious. It shows respect for the person and their idea. That simple, tiny shift in language can literally change everything. And when a leader says, it is my responsibility, it's not really about self-blame. It's about taking ownership of the system that allowed the problem to happen in the first place. This one simple act builds the trust and safety your team needs to solve problems together, and that creates a culture of improvement that actually lasts. Now, you can't just send out an email and announce, okay, team, we're all going to be open-minded now. That's just not how it works. This is a value that has to be demonstrated consistently, authentically, from the top down. Your actions are going to speak infinitely louder than any memo or poster ever could. A concept like open-mindedness can feel a little, fuzzy and abstract. You make it real through your actions day after day. Every single time you ask, what's the intention here? Or you say, show me. You are making this value tangible. When your team experiences you taking responsibility, they don't just hear about open-mindedness. They feel its power, and that is what drives real, meaningful change. So as we wrap up, let's make this personal. This isn't just some abstract theory. This is a call to action for you. Think about a conversation you have on your calendar for tomorrow. How will you approach it differently? Will you try to seek the intention behind an idea? Will you invite someone to actually show you their perspective? The entire journey of becoming an open-minded leader, it begins with that one small change.